What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today I'm talking about regular heroes. I kind of preluded to this the other day, but it kind of seems like there's only one kind of semi-exciting thing every time a regular hero comes out, and that's, are they going to be better than Eloise? And every single time the answer is no. Yes, Eloise is still the best first E5 hero to use, even 5 years, I'm not 5, it's like 3.5, 4 years since Eloise came out, which is pretty shocking. However, it makes me kind of wonder, what if they actually put out a game mode where you could only use regular heroes? I know like the closest thing we've had to that is like Celestial Force War. There's like, you know, the buff that you can pick that turns off being able to use Transcendence heroes, and that's how you can get to 1,000 points in the Lair Expedition. It kind of made me think, are any of these heroes that are coming out even good in the first place? Because like, yeah, they don't compare to Eloise, but would you even use them compared to the old heroes? And that's what I want to talk about here today. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. Now, this is probably not a topic most people care about because they never really go back and revisit the early game where you literally build Eloise and that's it, and this is going to be 6 months of your progression, is Eloise and her tenants. That is all the game you're going to play, and it's gotten pretty stale. I think we've talked about it almost every single month, at least briefly, when new heroes come out. But when you take a look at the new heroes that have been coming out, are any of them even valid being good? Like, if we take this entire Transcendence thing off the table, what have these heroes actually looked like? Well, I'd say Vulcan is probably one of the better ones because, let's be honest, Vulcan is literally just, where is he? Russell 2.0, but different, not the same. I think the closest thing we had to a hero coming out during the Transcendence hero session that was almost good was pre-nerf Eos. Now, some of you guys might not understand, but Eos, when her skill card came out, was very, very good on paper. And then they decided to nerf her before she came out because she was actually strong enough by the numbers to be better or as good as Transcendence heroes. That is the last time we ever got a hero skill card with numbers on it. Yes, that is what literally changed it from them showing the actual damage percentage numbers to just saying a certain amount of damage because they didn't have it quite tuned yet. She was actually very, very good, but then they quickly nerfed her. If we take a look at other heroes, would Natalie be a hero that would be pretty good? I don't think so. Would Yorm Tum be a hero that's good? Absolutely not, because you know what DH Games really sucks at? Making non-support versions of assassin heroes. That's what they suck at. Every single hero besides ones like, you know, Drake, who's kind of quote-unquote support, Rogan, they just not great. Natasha, who else do we have? Saya, like they're just not good heroes. They just don't know how to design them. And even then, when we go to like the Transcendence heroes, they're still not all that great. Which means the next hero, Melissa, should be a priest. And if we take a look at the faction, like G-Ster, I mean, he didn't really do much of anything. Freya didn't really do much of anything, but I think the base version of Freya might have been used as more of like a support hero though, because of the way she buffs and nerfs enemies. Xiao is probably one of the last ones, but of course that was before Transcendence heroes were really being pumped out. Xiao was actually used quite often, and I do think Xiao would be one of the strongest heroes in a non-Transcendence hero meta just because of this. When allies block 6 times in total, increases all allies attack by 20% and armor by 20%. This thing can stack crazy, and was actually used during the Transcendence hero meta at the time. Like, you usually threw 2 of them on a lineup, especially for like Forest faction. Really, really good. We take a look over here, like Arania. Again, another hero that was like this weird burn slash support priest that didn't do much. Then we had Gaggy. I do think regular Gaggy might have actually had a chance to be able to do something. And maybe could have been relevant, but again, I really don't think so. Holmes Young, that's probably one of the last really truly good heroes that came out, because of course he's probably the closest thing to competing with Eloise as a first E5 hero and just in general, and his kit was really good. He had crowd control, he had damage, he had a lot of cool things. You move over to Ilamok, and you remember testing Ilamok and he couldn't even clear like Sealand 15? Yeah, although again, this is one of those heroes that I do think if Transcendence heroes didn't exist, he might actually be good. He had crowd control, he had bleeding, he had counterattacking. I actually think Ilamak might have been a pretty cool PvP type hero if we didn't have Transcendence Hero. And then we have Luna. Again, an assassin. Kind of hard to make them work in general. When it comes to Eloise and stuff, I mean, we had Azrael, which even the Transcendence version of Azrael was not good. However, if Transcendence Heroes weren't a thing, I think Azrael might have found a place in the meta because, of course, he revives just like Carry, which is interesting. Revive is very, very strong. Granted, he only revives with 70 energy versus, I think even here, yeah, 80 energy. It's not a full amount of energy like Carry does, and it's not as crazy of an ability that Carry has with energy drain. So he might have found a spot. I think honestly Betty might be one of the heroes that would probably be one of the better ones that has recently come out, mainly because she has crowd control, and I think she could have been a PvP hero. Beyond that, her active skill here did quite a bit of damage to the enemies, and they can bleed them or twine them, and then afterward deals more damage to all twine targets. Like, I think Betty is like the best overall well-designed hero since then. But even if we take a look at Light and Dark, I think Light and Dark probably would have stayed the meta here, because I think Patricia, you guys saw multiple Patricia, even with like on a new account, was actually kind of good, even having a couple baby Patricias in there because of the way her extra attacks worked out. I think Patricia would have been one of the most meta heroes around, yet in this day and age, Patricia does not get used whatsoever. Same with Alakita. Alakita has some interesting ways to deal a bunch of damage. I still think the Transcendence version of her Infinite Era Alakita might become one of the best AoE damage dealers in the game. But again, I think Dark heroes really hit a good stride with these three in their power level, whereas the Light faction just simply did not. And that brings me to Melissa. Melissa is going to be a priest from the looks of it, because the last time we had a priest was way over here with our Olivia and such. So if we get a pretty solid healer slash supporter, that could be pretty cool. And then beyond that, you have to remember Transcendence heroes, it's all we use nowadays. Like, you just don't use non-Transcendence heroes. She's like only the third priest to actually hit Transcendence heroes, so I'm really intrigued to see how she works out. And again, as always this week, we are going to be trying to find an early game account that doesn't even have like an E5 hero, or maybe like one E5 hero, and we're going to try to build this new hero, because I think every single time a hero comes out, we have the Eloise rule. Is this hero better than Eloise? No? Okay, then we don't care about it. Are they almost as good or maybe better? Then we deep dive into it, see, is this hero a potential path to going for like your first E5 hero? Can they do Sealand? But being that she's a priest, kind of makes me think that is probably going to be a no. What do you guys think? Would you enjoy a game mode where you can actually use heroes that are not Transcendence heroes? I mean, like, because number one, these heroes can only go so far. They can only get, you know, tree level 120. At this point, they cannot get Destiny Transition because there's no Cores of Origin for these heroes either. And I don't know if it would be worthwhile to even make money on for DH games, to be honest. I wish there was a way, or maybe, ooh, now that could be fun. I think the one place that would be easy to implement would be some sort of PvP mode that you could only use non-Transcendence heroes, because then you're looking at heroes like what's probably the strongest hero, like this hero right here, Betty. We got Tree Origin 5, level only 100, but it's still really strong. V4, that could be really interesting. We got, of course, even X levels leveled up. What do you guys think? Would you actually be interested in something like that? I feel like it would be a very niche game mode, but I think it would be pretty cool to actually make them worthwhile, and then even make whales want to potentially swap their accounts around to get stronger versions of the non-Transcendence heroes just to compete. I don't know, but it just feels like at this point, months like this where we have Melissa coming out are just straight up boring for the good majority of the player base. Like, it's just a skip. It's never worth doing. You never want to go for that hero, and I don't know. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my little rant right there, and I'll see you guys next time.